Hi, this is Alan Moore doing another one of our segments, A Beer with Alan. Unfortunately, it's 11 o'clock in the morning and I'm not having a beer. I'm here today at Winton Woods Campground in Cincinnati. I'm here with Russ Pottebaum and his wife Karen Pottebaum, who used to be, in our world, Karen Lovell, and they're going to talk to us a little bit about their background and do one of our interviews. So Russ is going to start, and because this is one of our few situations where we have two of our classmates from the same year who are married, we're going to do it in kind of 3 or 4 segments. One will be Russ talking about the first 25 years, Karen talk about the first 25 years, and then we'll work it out about the next 25 years after that. Okay? So, Russ, why don't you start?
All right, my name is Russ Pottebaum, class of '68, Deer Park. I grew up in Cincinnati. Most of my time was spent in Kenwood. And by the way, I was born right across the street from the Blue Ash Airport. I'm sure
Which doesn't exist anymore.
I know, it's a park. The house is still there though. So, started the Deer Park school in the 7th grade. I went to a Catholic school before that. My stepfather put me in Deer Park and went through to graduation. After graduation, I went to Tri-County Tech in Nelsonville, Ohio to take up forestry. After a year and a half, we were out, we were working a week and going to school a week. I was doing some logging and I was in a pretty bad accident, which kind of changed my direction of my future work. Came back to Cincinnati and got married, had a son. I was a locksmith at the time. Then I decided to go on the road and do some owner-operator truck driving. Did that for some years, and then worked at GE for a while. In that span, I was married again. So, but the whole time I lived in Cincinnati, I did live in LA for a couple years, but we won't count that. But 25 years went very fast, and I was contacted and did go to the 25-year reunion, which turned out to be the best reunion of my life so far, except for this one.
Okay, and we'll move over now and tag team a little bit and let Karen talk about the subject.
Hi, I'm Karen Lovell, Pottebaum. After graduation, got married to a Deer Park classmate, but not from our class, and that was Bob Tapcorn, and we had a daughter while he was in Vietnam, and then we had a son after that, and unfortunately there was a divorce many years later, and I moved on with my life, and I worked full-time, my first full-time job after having children. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. My first full-time job was in the pharmaceutical business at Merrill in Reading. I'm still in the pharmaceutical business. So I've been giving you good drugs for a long time between Merrill and Merrill Dow and Glaxo and GlaxoSmithKline. And
You don't know that Doug Herbley spent his life as a drug rep. He sold the little blue pills the guys like.
all right.
You got that, Doug?
You got any left?
So, well, it's a good business. And so that's been very enlightening. I've been in the government end of it a lot. I went to UC for a while I was in the pharmaceutical business. And I also got my paralegal certificate because I've always been interested in the law. Then I guess it was, I don't know what year our 25th anniversary or reunion was in, but during that time I was
93.
93, okay.
Right.
I was single, and my daughter was getting married the week after the reunion. I didn't even know about the reunion because they couldn't find me because of my name changes. And I was in the restroom where I worked, and it was shared by other companies. And a gal said to me, "Karen, are you Karen Lovell?" And I said, "Yeah." And it was Mary Vitus. Thank you, Mary. And Mary asked if I was going to the 25th reunion. And I said, "No, I didn't know anything about it." She said, "Well, let me give you my flyer because I'm going to be in Greece and I can't make it." So I took the flyer home and I set it on my vanity, and I noticed when it was, and it was the week before my daughter's wedding. I thought, I'm not going to be able to do anything with this. I'm too busy. And I did notice there was a get-together at Chicken on the Run on that Friday night, but I kind of didn't pay attention to it. And just so happened that Friday night, I was going out for a big dinner with a lot of friends. And as I was getting ready, I glanced at the flyer, and I saw that Chicken on the Run was that night. So went to dinner, and when we all parted, a couple of my girlfriends said, "What are you going to do now?" And I said, "Well, you know, my class reunion's getting together at Chicken on the Run, and since I'm already on this side of town, I think I'll stop in there." And my best friend said, "Oh, you better watch out for that." She said, "People hook up at those reunions." I said, "Well, I don't care about that." I said, "I just want to see if my old next door neighbor is there," and which was Russ. And when I was driving to Chicken on the Run, I thought, where did that come from? You know, where did I say that? And so I got there and I walked in. Just love walking in a bar by myself.
Yeah.
And I look around and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got the wrong night. This is somebody's bowling team. I don't recognize anybody. And I was about to turn around, and all of a sudden somebody said, "Karen, Karen," and it was Dan Englehart, God bless him. And he came rushing over and gave me a big hug. And he said, "Well, Russ said they couldn't find you, and you wouldn't be here, and he'd been looking for you." And I said, "Is Russ here?" And the story Dan tells was after that, it was all over. No more hugs for Dan. Just Russ, Karen, and sparks flying. So that's our little story on the 25th reunion. Thank you again, Mary Vitus. And so...
now, in case you haven't got it figured out, they've been married for how many years?
24 years.
So, met at the 25th reunion. We're working on our 50th, and they've been married for 24 years.
Yeah.
I guess it was an important reunion.
It was
It was
very
fake.
important.
It was something, the way the two of us came together through different circumstances.
And I actually
just
had no
unbelievable.
interest prior to attending. It was kind of like, maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I got big things going on, and it didn't take priority, and it turned out that it was a priority in my life. I relocated the following year from Cincinnati with GlaxoSmithKline to Research Triangle Park, North Carolina. And later that year, much later that year, Russ came down and proposed, and we got married in Gatlinburg. Just he, I, and our dog, my dog. The following month, we had our first grandchild, grandson. So we had to get that done, and then 9 months later, we had our second grandson. And the first grandson was my daughter, Dawn's son. The second one was my son, Scott's son. So we had two grandsons in 1995. In 97, we had our precious granddaughter, also Dawn's daughter. And we took up camping so that we could take those kids on vacations. And it's amazing how fast those years have flown. And the pictures all over the walls of those camping trips and the RVs and everywhere that we shared with those children.
This is a good time for me to mention that those of you that are RVers, are you paying attention, Mary Ann? Are you paying attention, Marge, and all the rest of you? Some of you might be thinking about driving your RVs up for the reunion. And we're here at Winton Woods park, and Russ and Karen are going to have their RV, although I think now they're going to spend at least one night at the hotel for the reunion night. But this is a good place for you to park your RVs, and there might end up being several people who bring RVs up that weekend. And if you're in the same area, that might be a little bit interesting for itself. So I'll use this as another way to mention that. We're sitting out in front of their RV right now. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's the
And
best
Martha's
campground
leaning
in
against it
Cincinnati.
there. She's
Yeah,
right
my
there.
wife is our videographer for these, so she's taking our photos right now.
That's right.
Okay. Other things you want to add?
You know, there's something real quick I'd like to add about that the reunion. Dan convinced Karen to show up at the reunion the next night. She wasn't going to, and Dan escorted her to it. She drove. But halfway through the night, I thought to myself, you know, I need this woman's phone number. Dan had it because they made arrangements to get there. I took Dan into the bathroom. I said, I want that number. He gave me the number except for the last 2 digits. It took me hours.
That sounds like Engelhart.
And a lot of people I talked to get her number. And when she answered the phone, I said, Karen? Because I'd said it a million times before, calling people. She goes, yeah. You knew who I was right away,
You
maybe?
said,
sort
is
of?
this Karen Lovell?
I did say, is
Who
this
else
Karen
is going
Lovell?
to call me Karen Lovell? And
That's
I
right, I
said,
did,
yes. And I couldn't understand why he's calling me and acting so hesitant to talk to me.
I got chewed out a lot by a lot of people.
Well, we wanted to make sure we got this story out because there are a lot of people, we hope you're watching this video, that are wondering whether or not they're really going to have any connections from 50 years with the people in high school. And let me tell you, our experience has been from our gatherings that it's been remarkable what happens once people get even a taste of coming back and seeing the people. Russ and Karen came a couple of months ago to one of our gatherings because Karen's father was in some medical issues at the time, and they just showed up and from North Carolina and the chicken, and we had a great time. And now this time they planned a trip to be able to come to our next meeting from North Carolina. So those of you that are out there saying, I really don't think I have any connection with these people, you just really are not giving this a chance to see that the whole situation is very different than what you might have thought
I agree.
about. Would you guys agree with
Yeah,
that?
It's
I agree.
100%
It's
different.
amazing because we've all matured and we've all experienced so many things, and we all are finding commonalities with one another that weren't there when we were in high school.
That's right.
And maybe we, one another, didn't hang out together then or whatever. And now there's so much in common, and we're seeing what a great group of people we
And
are.
it's been interesting because people who weren't necessarily friends in high school have now got these new relationships. And in our lifetime, all of us have had friends come and go out of our life because they moved or we changed jobs or whatever it was. And most of those people we don't maintain contact with, but some we do. But the ability to reconnect and create new friendships and renew old friendships has been, it's not like going to a 5th year reunion where people are worried about what kind of car you got or what kind of job you got. It's not like that. And you need to understand that scenario because it's just such a different dynamic.
Yeah, that's
Would
right.
you guys agree?
Very
That's right. An
different.
example,
Very different.
how many times did I talk to you in high school?
Well, not that much.
I don't think I ever said much. You played,
Football and band and
We
stuff
were
like
thrilled when you called
and
us.
I think I played 4th or 5th trumpet.
that. Yeah, I got pictures of that though.
Eugene was
I
number
got
1.
pictures.
I don't
Eugene and Jim Goss and me
Yeah.
and Ken Boone and you. Those are the 5 of us.
I was way back. But I really did not know you. I did not talk to you or Jim Bishop. It's so funny now. I feel like I know you. It's just unbelievable.
Jerry Newman came up
Unbelievable.
to me at the last
Yeah.
planning meeting, after the meeting, and he says, Karen, I've been wanting to talk to you. And I said, well, hi, Jerry. He says, I saw on Facebook you play the harp. And I said, well, yeah, I'm trying. He says, I'm trying too. And he sent me a picture of
the
his
odds?
heart.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about, someday getting good enough to do something together when we
Yes.
have a reunion or something.
Well, you know, and I was talking about Jim Goss, not Jim Bishop, playing the trumpet, and Jim Goss
Oh,
will
that's
probably
what I meant,
watch
yeah.
this. But it's, I continued playing the trumpet, was in the High State Marching Band, and still play with the active alumni band all over the world, literally. And that's another set of stories. But it's just these connections that you don't know. I'm a pilot. I'm looking for other people who are pilots. I found out last night, just to share, April Dean, who is now April Kalova, was at our gathering for the first time. She lives in Lexington, Kentucky, but she drove up for this event. And I play handball, which is a game like racquetball without rackets. It turns out I learned that there was a guy in Cincinnati named Jack Dean that came up to Columbus to play handball. I wasn't there. And I said, I wonder if that's the same Jack Dean. For the last 3 weeks I've been working on it. And April says, yeah, my brother plays handball. And so you don't know how
Small world.
You don't know how these connections are going to be. Fortunately, of course, those of you that don't know, we lost Dan Engelhardt several years ago. So we're not able to give him a bunch of benefits and grief for activities related to Russ and Karen.
That's
But
right.
why don't, before we go, and this is a little longer because we've got two of our classmates to share things, why don't you share some of the things besides camping? I know you guys are both still kind of working, maybe full time, but you're going to try to join the rest of us as retired folks here pretty soon, I guess?
Yes, yes, yes. I am actually trying to figure out. Right now, I work for Hendrick Motorsports, and it's not a bad gig, but it's getting a little tough on me. And I am the same age as everyone else here.
Yeah, we know how old everybody
Yeah,
is.
well, I don't even remember what year I was born. No, but it's I'm probably gonna slow down and pretty much get out of it here in the next couple 3 months before the reunion. Give us some time to do some camping. Karen pretty much is in business for herself and is I don't know how you would describe it, an executive assistant.
I'm a little too successful to quit.
That's right. Okay.
But I want to
You
quit.
can brag. No, seriously though, if she continues for a while longer, she's very flexible, a lot more flexible than somebody that's on a time clock. And we can do a little more. We can go a few more places. She can continue to go. In the meantime, I'm going to work on the house, so that when we decide to move, we'll be pared down, ready to rock. You know, it's one of these deals. Put it on the market. It's going. We're probably going to head south towards family.
Speaking for a lot of us that are retired, many of us really, really enjoyed our careers. I was a university professor for 40 years. You know, I love being in the classroom. I love the students, all that stuff. But let me tell you, getting a check from whatever retirement source you've got and not working is even better.
I thought you were going to
And
say
work-
something else.
Okay, it's even better. So those of you that say, I've got a really great job and I really don't want to give it up, well, you only have so many years.
No, well, we're starting to
that's
realize
One of the
that.
things that has been a problem, well, disappointment for me is I never thought that when I started working on this effort in July or August last year, that by now, and it's still only May, we would have lost 3 guys out of our class. And I told people last night I'm not 100% convinced that we don't have some other people at risk before the reunion. And you sit there and you look at that, and all of us have lost friends. We've got 33, I looked this morning, 33 classmates that are no longer with us. You just don't have that many days. And even though those jobs are fun, let me tell you, the other things you're going to do, they're going to be fun too. Okay? And they're things you can't do in any other way.
I'm gonna
So
get
I
proficient
encourage
with
you
my heart.
to look at that. Right, and if it's Pursue the Harp, or Martha and I are trying to learn Spanish off and on, you know, whatever it might be, I encourage you all to do that.
Yeah.
So, and I know you guys want to do some traveling, and you got the kids and the grandkids. Any other things you want to add before we kind of wrap this up?
Well, I'm going to keep fit after I retire by waxing this thing once a month. You should start at the back and go to the front. It takes a week.
I'm gonna start riding.
Yes.
Russ and I both cheated death last August 13th.
Last August 13th, we came as
We
close
were
as you can come.
in a horrendous accident that came from nowhere, and there was no changing the events. We were in the wrong place at the wrong time to someone who was texting straight
Automobile
across
accident.
straight across
It
3
was
lanes of
horrendous.
highway to go right into my brand new car. That car saved us. She took the whole front end of it
Brian
off,
was gone.
and every airbag deployed, and it saved us. We walked away from it. Went to the hospital, but we walked away
Yeah.
from it. And you know, that really tells you that you think you prepare for everything. Well, you know, I'm safe. I got my seatbelts on. Or nobody ever leaves their house and expects to go and be in the hospital later or anything like that. Life happens, and so while we're still blessed to be here, we do need to live it and share it with friends and family.
My saying that I tell people is, life is an adventure. You need to live it that way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way we do it. And so we want to encourage all of you to watch these videos. Stay on the YouTube channel. If you don't know, if you click the bell, if you're watching this YouTube, if you click the bell on your YouTube, you'll get notices when we put new postings up. But come to the reunion. It's one weekend. I assure you that it'll be something you will not forget. And I'm also going to be able to promise you you'll never have another chance for a 50th year class reunion.
That's right.
It'll enrich life.
Never thought of it that way.
Okay, so we're going to stop now because it's probably been kind of long. Again, motorhome opportunities here at Winton Woods parking for the, what do they call it? Winton Woods RV parking or something? Campground.
Yeah.
They have
For those of you that
10
happen to
RV.
drive your RVs up for the reunion, but like Karen and Russ, we encourage you to consider staying at the hotel 1 or 2 nights. We got free breakfast. It's going to be a party. You're not going to want to be driving back and forth and leaving events early. Other than that, we'll say thanks for watching, and we hope you watch our next Beer with Alan.
Thank you,
Thank
Alan.
you, Alan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martha.